Welcome to the July 27th meeting of the Permanent Municipal Building Committee. We'll start out with the warrant, and I can give you a grand total. The warrant is I'm going to have a hard time trying to read it. I got a Vertex for $158, another Vertex for $1,246. And the Showbiz Security for $399.60. A Russo Bar for $9,287. Another Russo Bar for $7,430, and a Vertex for $1,325.43 for a total of $19,864.03. Need a motion?
Bob, I'll make a motion to approve that, that as the warrant as read.
Okay.
I'll second it.
All right, seconded by Bartlett. Vote. Bartlett,
Bartlett, yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Stacy,
Stacy, yes.
and Steve Moore. He's not on yet. And myself.
Looks like he's still trying to. It looks like his audio is trying to connect.
Yeah. And Bob Rama, yes. The second thing on the thing is the Shaker Lane Feasibility Study.
Wait a minute, you forgot the minutes, buddy.
Oops, I'm sorry. Everybody read the minutes for the July 13th, 2022 meeting.
Yep, I did.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
I'll second that, Bob.
Vote Bartlett,
Bartlett, yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Stacy,
Stacy, yes.
Steve. Still not talking to us. Bob Rama, yes. Shaker Lane Feasibility Study. I don't know who was going to speak on that.
I can speak to that. So we just had an emergency meeting last week, I believe on Wednesday, having a feasibility study for the buses, if that's what that is mentioning, doing a pretty much like an assessment and evaluation of bus routes, in which they're going to give us 3 different options for either making our bus routes more efficient or working towards transitioning us to be starting school at a later time for the school.
Stacy, it's the feasibility study is for the building itself.
Oh, okay. Then I'm not sure. I'm not.
It's the talk about either demoing the building or redoing the building. So, and there's a study that's gone out, and
Bob, I think, Bob, if you don't mind, I didn't, don't you have to find a replacement for Rich Crowley?
We already
You guys
did.
already, so you have the representatives of the committee?
Yeah,
Yeah, which is Mike, isn't it?
Mike Scaduto.
Mike Scaduto, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's Mike, Brian, and myself. So I can speak a little bit to the feasibility study. We need to advertise for an OPM. Rich Crowley has put all the documentation together, sent it over to Steve, Mark, and myself. We need to get on, I think it's the November board with the MSBA. So we've got a little bit of work to do, but Rich seems to have done the heavy lifting. We have some blanks to fill in, of course. So more to come on that.
All right. We take one out of order here, Steve, and we'll jump to the senior center because we got
John.
Anthony sitting in his car, and we got John here too.
Yep.
I think he caught me yawning.
I can empathize. Yeah.
So, updates on the senior center.
Sure.
Do you wanna-
Sure, Brian prepared a few bullets for me, and then I can fill you in on where we are with the CM at risk. So what Brian left, he said meetings were held on the 21st of the month with LLB, Vertex, the town, and the following departments to go over the preliminary design development design: fire, police, electric and water department, IT, disability, DPW, and the building commissioner. There was great feedback from all departments, and LLB will continue with the design with requirements that were discussed, awaiting minutes from the design team to be distributed to the committee. So, good meetings, good progress moving forward with LLB. As far as the
So
CM,
John,
sorry?
let me just interject. Kirby sent me an email today that although IT wasn't originally contemplated for the building, actually, Kirby, you can speak to it better than I do, but Ken.
Yeah, just real quick. IT was planned, Steve, just a quick correction.
Okay.
Wasn't the plan at earlier times to create video broadcasting from that large conference room. And we understand that that may change. And as Brian had suggested, we'll work with Anthony and Liz to better understand their requirements and their capabilities, and we'll go from there. Thank you,
Kirby.
John, you got anything more?
Yeah, sure. Sorry. So the CM at risk process. So as you know, we submitted the application to the Inspector General on June 21st. They have been averaging about 5 weeks. We had a couple that we had done prior, or recently, I should say, for other towns. Got those back in 5 weeks. 5 weeks was yesterday. So it would not shock me if we hear from them probably this week, if not this week, next week, with a response. We got the acknowledgement that they received our application, and we have received no questions. So I'm pretty, I would bet, if I were a betting man, that we will hear from them and we will get the okay to proceed any day now. What happens from that point on is we will go ahead and have to post an advertisement for the request for qualifications. The CM at risk process, as you know, is 2 phases. First, it's qualifications based. We get basically general information about the firms, their history, work history, financial backup, all of that stuff, who their proposed team is. From that information, we then qualify or not qualify. And then those firms that are deemed qualified move on to the request for proposal phase of the process, and go from there. What we need to do tonight is figure out who the members of this committee that would be involved in the qualification committee. By statute, we have to have the OPM, and that's per chapter 149A, the OPM, the designer, and then at least 2 members. Doesn't have to be more than 2, but 2 is kind of the minimum. 2 other representatives of the owner, and typically it would be members from this committee. I will tell you that we, as your OPM, try to make it very light lifting for you. We handle all the reference checks. We handle all of the review of the financials, all of the stuff that is fact-based. It's easy for us to go and get that info, look at it and report it to you. As far as the assessment of the qualifications, how you felt their presentation, on paper was, how you feel their experience is, those other members of the committee also score those and give those scores to us. We fill in the things that are the same for everybody, like the references and safety record and all that. And from that, we get to our scoring. Anybody more than 70 passes and, essentially gets qualified. So, what would be, but before we can advertise for this, for a request for qualifications, 149A says that we need to establish that qualification committee. So I would ask the committees for, talk amongst yourselves and see who's interested to throw your hat in the ring and do this. Again, it's going to be some reading, probably be 3 to 5 firms that would respond. We'll get you a rubric. We'll kind of write everything down and get it pretty straightforward. It's probably half hour to an hour of time for each firm that answers. And what the goal is We have to qualify at least 3. Otherwise, we have to go back out and advertise again. And obviously where we are with the design as we move into DD, as we're into DD right now, this is a good time to get a CM on board, get the value of their insight, and pre-construction collaboration as we, kind of get this thing towards biddable construction docs. So,
Steve, Steve, we only need one. I would assume Bob would be that because I'm the other person.
It's fine. I mean, I assume you're interested, Bob?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay. I guess we need to vote as a committee for Bob. We don't have to vote on Anthony because he's the boss.
What would be good, guys, just for the minutes, is a motion that the qualification committee be comprised of the OPM, the designer, the town manager, and Bob Romilly, and vote on that and have that in the minutes, and that would be awesome.
Okay, would you repeat all those people that you want again for me?
Sure. The owner's project manager, OPM.
Which would be Vertex, right?
Vertex, yep. The designer, which is LLB. Okay. And then Anthony and Saldi.
Yeah.
And Bob Romilly.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So I move. Is there a second?
I'll second it, Bob Romley. Can I second it?
Yeah, well, you're running the meeting. Yeah, go ahead. That's why I made the motion, because you're running the meeting.
I'm going to give it back to you.
So motion's been made and seconded. All in favor? Bob?
Bob Romley, yes.
Bartlett?
Bartlett Harvey, yes.
Brian?
Brian Pasquale, yes.
Stacy?
Stacy, yes.
And Steve Moore, yes. Motion carries.
Great. That's all I have for the senior center, guys. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know whether Anthony's got anything on it.
If anybody has any questions, I know I haven't been to one of your meetings since I've been back, I think. So I'm happy to answer any questions with regards to the project. As John said, we really had a great meeting on Thursday. Went through a lot of details with the various departments. Yeah, we did skip over LCTV, and that was by accident. There is interest in having the main multipurpose room be able to be broadcasting with LCTV. Mark and I have also had conversations about potential cooking shows and so forth, and the new kitchen that we're going to have there. So that'll be a secondary meeting, but plans are progressing nicely. We haven't run into any roadblocks, but happy to answer any questions that anybody might have.
Just to add a little bit to it, we've had a couple of slight changes in where the sewerage is going to come out, which is it might benefit us by making the sidewalk down the side of the building. It'll come in so that it'll be ADA compliant, which if we do it the way it is right now, it's not going to be. And a couple of other moves, the island that was out front, if you've seen the pictures, that we took that out of there because of it's going to give us some extra parking, and the drop off will be easier.
Could you just catch me up real quick on the location, the final location, and kind of the timeline, if there is one yet, or are we still planning process?
Right where the tennis courts are.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it'll be level with the library. So the first floor will be subgrade, and then the second floor will be on grade with Shattuck Street.
Okay. And do you guys have a timeline for when that's going to get started and that out?
We're still in the design phase. I would hope that I hope to break ground by next late springtime,
Okay.
right around town meeting time.
Was a completion date in June of 24, was it, Anthony?
Yeah, pretty much 12 months later is
Yeah.
what we're figuring. So
I think what will be important is when the CM's on board, having what we're seeing with projects right now still, and hopefully we get a little bit of easing, is sometimes the project durations are extending a little bit, not because of work that needs to be done, but because of time that's needed to procure. So typically, a job that might be 12 months may be 16 now. As an example, let's say you were going to buy an emergency generator for this building. It's impossible to get an emergency generator in less than a year right now. So ideally, you would have to contract, even if you contracted and bought one on day one with submittals, it's a year later. It's impossible to get it in and installed and working and running inside the year. So what we're finding, and this is the collaboration with the CM that's really good, is their input will help us along the way and say, okay, if before the job is ready to bid, we know that maybe we're ordering the emergency generator 2 months early so that we save those 2 months at the other end of the project. So, 12 months to do the work, but we may start ordering and buying things sooner based on some feedback from them and market conditions. So that's an important thing to keep in mind. And that's also part of the flexibility of having a CM allows you to do that. Whereas if we were just hard bidding it, you couldn't do anything until the plans were at 100% complete.
Yeah, great point, John, because we do plan on having this building have an emergency generator so it can be a shelter location in town. Currently, we only really have the schools because those are the only buildings on top of the police station, fire station, that has the ability to act as a shelter. This building will be the first really under the town control that could act as a shelter because it has all the amenities that showers and so forth that it would need.
Any other questions on that? Guess we're all set. Anthony, we'll let you go home.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Looking forward to working with all of you throughout this project. It's very exciting.
Thank you.
Indeed.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Thanks, Anthony.
All right. Bye-bye.
You gonna take over, Steve?
No, you can keep going.
Next on the agenda, and I think, is John still here for this? The library update for the solar panels?
Well, I will tell you, so I will fall on my sword. I only know about the library what Brian told me. So I'm going to read to you he's got 4 bullets here, and including something about solar. In order, as he has them, ongoing warranty issues are being resolved. It was determined that some filters are inaccessible to be changed. The contractor has been made aware of this in order to rectify it. Next item, Vertex, the Board of Trustees, and the controls contractor Viking had a meeting to go over the BMS system and issues that the building was having. Some set points have been changed. Viking was asked to provide a price for a day rate of programming to provide additional programming that will help with reducing energy consumption. For example, holiday scheduling and creation of zones for staff areas, etc. Sam, the library director, and Vertex will be working together to put together the final MBLC report in order to get the final grant installment. And solar panel installation are still scheduled for the beginning of September.
Okay. Mark Rambach, do you have anything?
That sums it up pretty well. We are going through trying to get the filters changed and the issues around that, as John alluded to. So we are also, Katrina mainly, with some help from Sam and myself, are going through with the controls, trying to optimize the energy usage in the building so that, it doesn't start cooling down too early or the powers stay on too late for things like that. So she will be going to all of the boards pretty soon, probably, and advocating to hire a facilities manager because this is outside of everyone's pay grade and level of understanding on what to do. So.
I have a question. Is there anything that I need to know for the Shaker Lane Building Committee as we're starting to work on that to kind of prepare for any issues or any energy issues that you guys are running into with the library that I can kind of bring up with them?
Yeah, Katrina and I will be more than happy to meet with you. We presented some of those issues when we were talking about the COA building project. And another interesting point on the Shaker Lane is Acton has just built a net zero elementary school. So we should look into what they did and how we could, what we can do to along those lines. If not
Mark,
net zero, but we can get close.
Mark, happy to share with you. We also just opened one in Westboro, which was also actually it opened in November. Also net zero between a geothermal and photovoltaic. So happy to talk with you anytime offline, or as part of this. Give you our info of what we did and what worked, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, that would be great.
Were they new builds or retrofits?
New build.
Yeah. So, okay, that sounds exciting.
Did that get forwarded to Steve? That information?
I have not. I haven't
first time
talked to
here.
Steve about it.
Yeah.
I will talk to Steve about it.
All right. We all set on the library? Any other questions? Police station, I think Brian was going to talk to George on getting that box removed. High school roof, Brian?
Yeah, not much to report this time, Bob.
Thanks,
We
John.
have the drawings.
Hey guys, have a good night.
Thank you, John. Go ahead, Brian,
We
again.
have the drawings in hand, but as we discussed at last meeting, we'll probably hang on to those until sometime either right before or right after the new year to put those on the street for bid, and have a schedule for next summer when school is out of session. The only thing that's going on right now is trying to find some time with Steve Mark to meet with the rep and the designer for the snow melt system for the roof hatch area. And Steve Mark mentioned he's out for a little while, but I'm trying to set that up for sometime second week in August, it looks like. So that's all for the roof right now.
Just a question, will we be better off to put that out to bid now so that we'll have the material come next year, or?
Well, the problem with putting it out now, we want to do it sooner than later. We don't want to wait until the spring, but we just were concerned about being able to have a contractor hold a price for almost a full year, and getting competitive pricing.
Mhm.
Yeah, if we put it out too soon, people build risk into their price.
Right.
All right, any other questions with Brian? We already did the senior center. Member input,
Did we need to do the warrant?
we already
All
did.
done.
We did that.
Oh, is that what we voted on?
Mhm.
Yep.
Warrant's all done, Steve.
Sounds good to me. Okay. You could read it? It's very
No, I
difficult.
couldn't. I actually went through and wrote everything out so I could see what it is.
Oh, good for you. That's what I was going to do if I got home in time.
Any input, Steve?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Brian?
I'm all set. Thanks, Bob.
Bartlett?
I'm all set, thanks.
Stacy?
I'm all good. Thank you.
Welcome to the board.
Thank you.
And then, Mark, you got anything else?
I'm good.
All right. Looking for a motion to adjourn?
So
I'll make
moved.
All right, second.
Steve Moore makes the motion.
And Bartlett seconded. Steve?
Yes.
Bartlett?
Bartlett, yes.
Stacy?
Stacy, yes.
Brian?
Yes. Brian,
And Bob
yes.
Romley. Bob Romley, yes.
I have a comment.
Uh-oh.
The next, I know, the next meeting is not scheduled as this agenda stated. It says the next meeting is scheduled for July 27th. It's not. It's August 10th.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay.
And apparently these meetings will stay virtual until,
March
at this
30th.
point, March of next year.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yep.
Good night all.
Great. Okay. Good
Night
night.
all.
Thank you.